And we're following breaking news from Venezuela, which has declared a national emergency and blamed the US for explosions that shook its capital, Caracas. Footage on social media captured a series of blasts, rising plumes of smoke, while low-flying jets were seen flying over the city. Witnesses say there were at least 7 explosions at around 2 a.m. local time, resulting in a power outage in the southern part of Caracas. The CBS and Reuters news outlets report that the Pentagon is behind the strikes, which were ordered by President Donald Trump. This comes after weeks of often deadly strikes in the region, which Washington says have targeted drug smuggling boats and a Venezuelan port used for drug smuggling. Well, for more on this and the situation in Venezuela, I'm joined now by DW reporter Oskar Schlenker, who was for a long time in Venezuela, reporting from there. He's now in Berlin. Oskar, what are you hearing from Caracas today? What's going on?
Well, there's a lot of fear. A lot of people are frightful. Many people in Caracas heard the explosions, were waken up by these blasts. And there's a lot of worry about what's to come or if they will be affected by this attack.
Well, Nicolas Maduro already calls it an U.S. attack. He's very clear about that. What do you make of his reaction?
Well, I think this was something that we've been foreshadowing for weeks now. All of the experts that have been consulted, analysts, what we have been saying is that we didn't think a full-blown out land attack would come about, even though it was part of Donald Trump's threat for the past few months. But that's what nobody wanted, actually. However, as we've seen this progress and that the Maduro administration has not, stepped down from office after years of not being recognized as a leader in Venezuela, then, we are seeing now this come about in the worst way possible, which is an attack on Caracas, as what we're seeing right now.
Now, you just mentioned about Maduro has not stepped down, but the U.S. administration always insists that this is about fighting drug trafficking. So what are the exact reasons? What do we know about the real reasons for this escalation?
Well, the real reasons for this escalation has been regime change. And even though Trump has hinted at it, he has not said it flat out. But what has always been behind the military deployment in the Caribbean has been about regime change in Venezuela. Even since Donald Trump's first time in office, this was part of a plan to oust Maduro from government because it is a destabilizing fixture in the region. And we've seen that that has prompted a mass migration of Venezuelans that has affected the entire hemisphere.
Now, he may be a destabilizing figure, as you say, but Colombia, also in the region, already condemned the attack. And Colombia is also saying that it wants the UN to intervene. So how justified is the US's move?
Well,
And there she's back. Sorry, we lost you for a moment, but I can hear you again, and now we can see you again. So please continue, Oskar.
Yes, I was just saying that just last week, the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting called upon by Venezuela's government in order to discuss this. And what we see is that even though they do condemn the incursion of the U.S. military in Venezuela, they also condemn Venezuela's crimes against humanity and human rights violations, because what we've seen in the past few months is more repression, more persecution towards journalists, towards politicians, towards the families of politicians. And even though we have seen that in the past few days, in Christmas and in New Year's, the regime did release some political prisoners, there's still many, many more that are in prison. And the fear from human rights organizations in Venezuela is that this is just a revolving door of the prison system. So you let some people out and more people will be persecuted to be imprisoned. So we are dealing with a regime that is quite dangerous for the Venezuelan people. But of course, this attack against Venezuela also puts in danger the Venezuelan people. So it's a lose-lose situation for the people themselves. We're just waiting to see what will happen with the regime.
Right. Oscar, just let me get back one more time to the reaction of the Venezuelans. You talk about a lose-lose situation. Do the majority in Venezuela see the U.S. attacks, the U.S. moves? Do they see this as a kind of liberation or really as an attack against them? And could this even cause a kind of backlash?
Well, the majority of Venezuelan people voted last year against Nicolás Maduro, and the Maduro administration still went ahead and declared victory, even though we proved that the opposition had won. So the majority had already stated what they wish for Venezuela's government to be like. Now, if this is the right way of achieving that or of bringing about change, well, many people don't know. There is a lot of fear. Obviously, violence is the last thing that people want in Venezuela. I'm sure it's the last thing the American government wanted as well. And that's why the pressure was on for months now for Nicolás Maduro to step down. And what we're seeing today is the escalation reaching a boiling point. We saw in the last week that there was an attack on a supposed dock for drug traffickers, and the Venezuelan government did not make any mention of it. So they were ignoring the signs of pressure to step down. And well, I think what we're seeing now is the fulfillment of these threats that Trump has been making for months now.
All right. DW's Oscar Schlenker there. Oscar, thank you so much.